right, so Laura's taller than me. I have to lower this thing. For the second half of this program, we're going to get into speaking about a little bit about physical therapy and what you could do that will help you to maybe get past any spastic pains that you might have, or doing some stretching. You know, everybody can do this. Even if you're not able to stand, you can still do forms of exercise. I mean, there are people that don't know that every time you do a squat, you're doing an exercise, all right? Every time you sit down to go to the bathroom, you're doing an exercise. You can practice by standing and sitting over the toilet if need be. No, I'm joking with that. But we have a speaker in Florida that actually talks about that all the time. But just moving and standing up, sitting down, standing up, this is a great form of exercise for you. And I'm really not going to speak about it because these guys are the professionals, and I'll let them talk to you about it. So we're going to introduce Lauren Esposito, right? Come on up, Lauren. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So I'm actually not just myself tonight. I also have Emily Triska and Jenny Thompson. We're the therapists that work at the MS clinic, and we also work at our Upper Arlington rehab location. So today we're just going to get started with talking about what we do in the clinic, what are some different therapy needs, because we find out most commonly people don't know what we do. So I'm a physical therapist, Emily is a physical therapist, and Jenny is an occupational therapist.
Well, I'll get us started. Like Lauren said, my name's Emily. I'm a physical therapist. I work in the MS clinic. And do I need to go up a little higher? I'm, I guess, a little taller. And we want to talk about the benefits of therapy. I'm happy to see so many familiar faces, so I know a lot of you have had therapy services previously. So the top therapy needs that we've seen in clinic, we'll start with physical therapy. So difficulty with walking or kind of an abnormal gait pattern. So we can work on retraining your gait, trialing out different assisted devices or braces to see if we can conserve energy with walking. Weakness, poor balance, history of falls. Somebody who's not on an exercise program or having limited endurance. Someone who is deconditioned, we can get you on a good exercise program, help guide you to figure out what exercise is best. If you are having a lot of fatigue, getting you on a stretching program, so if you have tight or stiff muscles. Speech therapy. So speech therapy can do an evaluation to look at your strengths, your weaknesses, give you different strategies to help improve your thinking skills, memory, reading comprehension, your ability to remember the things that you read, word finding, speech, and then swallowing as well. Occupational therapy, which Jenny is our representative for OT, they can work on hand and arm function, working on coordination, energy conservation, so planning out your day, being able to conserve energy, working on vision, cognition as it relates to your daily activities, and as well as recommendations for different tools that might be helpful for you to help conserve energy, be able to plan your home so it's best suited to get your bathroom set up, your home set up so that everything is well suited for you so that you don't have to spend a lot of extra energy. So just planning those things very appropriately. So Lauren's going to get us started. Actually, sorry, I'm just going this slide too. So everybody with MS would benefit from doing exercise. So it's just finding the right exercise for you. So exercise, a regular exercise program can help improve endurance, strength, your mood, your energy levels, also improve bone health, bowel and bladder function. There actually is physical therapy that relates specifically to pelvic floor therapy. So if you're having issues with frequency of having to go to the bathroom, or you're having some incontinence, you could talk to your doctor about seeing a pelvic floor therapist. Also weight management, and then improving your memory and your cognition. Also on the flip side of that, if you're not exercising, it's likely that you're going to get deconditioned and then have secondary weakness. So we want to get everybody on an exercise program. All right, and Lauren's going to take it from here.
All right, I think that's better. So like Emily said, I'm in the clinic, at the MS clinic with Dr. Boster and Dr. Nicholas 2 days a week, sometimes 3. And it amazes me still how many times I walk into a room and someone tells me that they haven't exercised in 10 years. If you've worked with me in therapy, which I know some of you have, you know that's completely unacceptable. I always say, we have to go for broke. We don't know what you're gonna get back, and we don't know where our end point is. So everyone should be exercising in any capacity, and that's what we're here for. So I wanna talk about general guidelines. This doesn't mean I expect you to run a marathon, but it does mean that I expect you to be strong enough to get through your day. So general guidelines. You should be performing exercise at a low to moderate intensity level. If you're walking in the park and you're holding an hour-long conversation, you need to kick it up. You're not working hard enough to seek cardiovascular benefits. You need to listen to your body. You don't want to overdo it. I don't expect you to exercise for an hour the first day you get out there. And you have to take rest breaks. That means you might get 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, and 10 minutes in the evening. And then plan your exercise at the best time of the day for you. If you know that at 6 o'clock at night, you're not gonna be able to do it, don't start there, you're gonna fail. Now, I always hear that I'm gonna overheat, so we can plan things to help you out. So do we exercise at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a 95-degree day? Probably not. So we wanna bring ice cold water with us. We want to utilize different cooling strategies. I know there are cooling towels out there today. That's a great place to start. If you see benefit with something like that, maybe we should invest in a cooling vest. Maybe we should look at some of the MS Society programs to get a free cooling vest. Wear your dry fit clothing. Don't wear a sweatshirt outside. It's not going to be breathable. And then if you're going to get in a pool, you don't want to get in a 92-degree pool. You're going to have symptoms related to heat sensitivity. Now that being said, you can't control every pool temperature. So if you can only be in for 15 minutes, then you need to get out of the pool, get some cold water, wait till your symptoms calm down, and try again a different day, okay? So we want you to be doing regular strengthening, regular cardiovascular, and then regular flexibility and balance. So with strength training, again, this light to moderate intensity, 2 to 3 days a week. And you're gonna see a lot of ranges in here because everyone is different and everyone's schedule is different. You might love strength training and you might not like cardio, so you might bump it up on the strength training and just do 2 days of the cardio. It has to be what you're excited about doing. Because if I tell you to go walk for 30 minutes 3 times a week and you hate walking, you're not gonna do it. So for intensity, we want 8 to 15 repetitions. The last 2 to 3 repetitions that you do should be hard. If you get to 8 and you tell me I can do 5 more, then either do 5 more or use more weight. 1 to 3 sets. When you're first starting out, you're not gonna be at 3 sets, you're gonna be extremely sore. I want you to listen to your body and grade it up. Now, I like to use a 2-hour rule. If in 2 hours you're thinking about how you felt when you were exercising, you should feel the same or better. If you're feeling more fatigued, you overdid it. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't feel sore. You can have muscle soreness. It's very different than fatigue. Your soreness can last up to 24 hours, but if it goes beyond that point, you went a little bit too hard, got a little too excited, so let's bump it down either on the weight or the repetitions. And then when you're exercising, allow for 90 seconds to 2 minutes of rest between your muscle groups. Okay, endurance. So anything that gets your cheeks a little pink, you're huffing and puffing, again, you can't hold a conversation, but you could say a sentence if I asked you a question. The duration is 10 to 40 minutes. Now again, large range. 10 is the minimum amount of cardiovascular exercise that you need to be doing to see a benefit. So if you can only get 10 minutes in the morning, go for it, but I expect you to do 10 minutes later in the day. Again, that 2 to 3 day a week range. So some examples are walking outside, getting on a stationary bike, doing water aerobics. There's chair aerobics videos, simply doing like what they call them arthritis classes, so they're more low intensity. Water aerobics classes is a great place to start. Then for flexibility and stretching, this should be done daily. You want to target the muscle groups that give you the most problems. So if you're telling me my legs are always sticking straight out in bed in the night, I'm getting cramping, you want to stretch out what we call your quads. So that's something that you really need to have a therapist evaluate you and teach you how to stretch and get you on a program that's going to be most specific for you. I can't really give you general guidelines with that one. But they should be gentle and prolonged. You should hold them for 30 to 60 seconds. 60 seconds, you're going to get more bang for your buck on that one. But you shouldn't be having pain when you stretch. It should feel good. So I don't like the saying, no pain, no gain. That's out the window when it comes to this stuff. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to Jenny.
So since I'm the odd man out, being the occupational therapist presenting with a pair of physical therapists, I figured I'd focus on the odd man out exercises that often get overlooked. So the first one I want to focus on is hand exercise, and that can come in different forms. You may have trouble with your dexterity, you may have trouble with stiffness, you may have trouble with your strength in your hand. So it's important to figure out what's giving you difficulty and exercise that. If we're talking about coordination, then you want to find the tasks that are just a little bit annoying and frustrating that you were able to do more easily than you are now, and that's what you're going to practice. So it could be handwriting, typing, playing the piano. But if you never played the piano before, that's not the exercise I want you to pick up now. Find what you enjoy doing and work on that. As far as strengthening, there's different exercises that the occupational therapist can give you to work on hand strength. A good one that you can find readily available is the grippers that a lot of patients already take to. The flip side of that is you're only really working one muscle group. So if you find that you're having trouble opening your hand and weaker there, then that's when an occupational therapist would be able to guide you into more specific exercises for the other muscles in your hand. The last component, stretching. If you're getting stiff, if you're getting tight, or if you're just starting to lose the ability to move your hand as much, then we want you to stretch your joints so that you don't get stiff and tight and sore. So again, that can come in different forms, and depending on the level of tightness you have, you may need a therapist to help. But as Lauren already mentioned, any approach to stretching shouldn't be very painful. It should just be slow, gentle stretch, and gradually helping you to improve your flexibility. Oops, too far. So now we're going to talk about brain exercise. And again, I'm needing my own brain exercise at the moment. So as Lauren said earlier, you really want to make sure that the brain and any exercise is engaging. It's got to be something that you enjoy doing so that you actually want to invest the time and energy into it. You want it to be the just right challenge. So this is a phrase that we often say in the therapy world, where it can't be too easy, but it can't be too hard. So if you're sitting down to do whatever you've chosen to do, Sudoku, jigsaw puzzles, crossword puzzles, reading an article and talking about it with your family, if it's super easy, then it's not exercise. If it's so hard that you're wanting to throw the jigsaw pieces across the room, well, then you're helping your dexterity, but you're not helping your brain. So find the right challenge. You want it to make your brain work just enough to keep yourself going, but not too much. And then you want to build the challenge as appropriate. So you want to start off in a quiet room for a short time, and if you're successful there, then you upgrade. Try to add in distractions. Can I work on this Sudoku while the TV's on? Can I do this jigsaw puzzle while someone's talking to me and I'm able to carry a conversation? Or if I'm only able to focus on this particular computer game for 5 minutes before I lose my focus, then next week I'm going to see if I can focus on it for 10 minutes. So building that up in whatever way you need to. So with all of this being said, yes, we're preaching exercise. We're preaching for you to get active in every way possible. But we also want you to make sure you don't overdo it. So the no pain, no gain theory is out the window here. And we also don't want you to push yourself so hard that you're then not able to function and do the things that you have to be able to do every day. So rest breaks are your best friend. And that can come both within an activity that you're doing. Let's say you're doing the laundry, figuring out how to break it into steps that you can sit and take breaks throughout that process, but also over the course of the day. So some of you are probably wondering, why is there a picture of a credit card on the screen? There's lots of analogies that we use to explain how to conserve your energy, but one of my favorites is a credit card. So you want to think like you've got a credit card that has a certain credit limit. We'll go with $1,000. You don't want to go to Target as soon as they open and spend your $1,000 and have nothing left for the rest of the day. So you want to be able to spread that out over the course of the day so that you're not wiped out by noon and have nothing left to give. Sit for tasks where possible. So I have a lot of patients that tell me, my balance is fine, I don't need to sit in the shower, for instance. It's not always a matter of balance. Sometimes you need to just sit to conserve your energy, because showering, I'm sure some of you would agree, is actually really tiring when it's something that consumes your energy. So sit for tasks, know what really drains you, and then figure out, is there a place that I can sit and do a portion of the task? Plan ahead. So before you jump into a task or before you jump into a day, make sure that you're kind of thinking of strategies that will help you spread that energy out. So if you live in a 2-story home, trying to think, what do I need to bring downstairs before I go down, so you're not having to go up and down multiple times a day. If you're about to cook a big meal, trying to gather your supplies before you jump into cooking it, so you're not having to bounce all around the kitchen and gather supplies as you go. And then use shortcuts where possible. We all use shortcuts. It's an okay thing to do. For instance, if you are cooking, then maybe if it's a big meal, trying to get some of the pieces that are already chopped up in the produce section, or using different tools like a food processor to do some of the steps for you. So whatever path you need in order to simplify things, it's okay if it helps you conserve energy. Overall, we want you to set yourself up for success. So set reasonable goals. Lauren mentioned, don't go jumping and running a marathon, but set steps that you can meet and that help you feel successful so that you're more motivated to keep going. Get a buddy. I'm a big fan of this. If I have somebody that I know is going to hold me accountable in an exercise, then I'm going to be a lot more likely to do it. So find somebody that you can either exercise with or that will check in on you and see how you're doing with it. Keep track. So kind of keep a checklist. What did I do today? What did I do this week? So that you can see how your progress is adding up, and so that you also can kind of hold yourself accountable for how often are you actually doing the exercises. Start small and work your way up. Again, give yourself that feeling of success before you increase the challenge. And then overall, have fun. Thank you all for being here.